not ever go on a first date or second or third with a climber going climbing or doing anything scary, whether they're climber or not, because these men will get you unalive. He is so tired of me talking about this subject, and I think I'm never gonna ever be able to stop talking about it, because there's always another story of a woman who was terrified or actually died because of the recklessness of a man, or, and y'all been tagging me all over the place in this story, or a man who purposely scared you to like basically groom you into an abusive relationship. We're gonna talk about this dude, this nice guy. Fuck this guy. Okay, I'm done with the microphone for now, because this is serious. This dude right here. I don't even know the whole story yet, because apparently Lucy, the woman that he terrified, is on private now, and I get why. So I'm going to recap this. Before I go into it, please follow my Patreon, because you may forget I exist, especially because the algorithm on TikTok has had me shadow banned for 9 months now. And then YouTube, things are not really great right now, but I'm hoping it's because of summer. But please, if you follow my Patreon, you'll get notified when I put work out there, and you'll actually see it. Even the free tier. So please go over there. Plus, I have a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm going to use this as an example to make even more points on this story. Do not date climbers, or definitely don't date these dudes. The dudes who jump off of cliffs in these like bat costumes, do not ever date these men. Maybe 1 in 100 is not a complete psycho. This is like, these dudes are worse than climbers. They're so much worse than climbers. But don't date climbers. There are some exceptions. I'm friends with some of those exceptions. But in general, don't date reckless men in general. But most men are reckless. So I guess just don't date until you have... Do not assume this man is trustworthy or knows what he's doing, isn't an abuser, or is like safe. Oh my God, I have so much to say about this. I'm already annoyed at how much I'm gonna have to say about this. Please bear with me. I'm even more passionate about this right now, because I have been away from TikTok almost entirely, and even, taking a break on all my platforms, because I was on vacation with my American family. And during that vacation, I witnessed someone drown, and the recovery efforts and all of this crap. And it literally threw me into the whole world of reckless men getting people unalived unnecessarily because of their egos. Best case scenario, these men are just naive and have some hubris and are a little overconfident, and they're not like really being thoughtful. That is literally the best case scenario. But a lot of times they're like this dude, and I believe this dude is probably a narcissist. And I do not label people like that lightly. I think all men have narcissistic traits. Anyone who has a lot of power ends up acting like a narcissist on some level. Doesn't mean they're literally a narcissist. But look at this, I'm gonna actually tag another creator who people are tagging me in the videos, because everybody's asking me to talk about this. And she did a kind of a deep dive, and she found out who this Chris dude is, and found videos of his. And this dude is like, this is how he is in front of everyone else. But who he was in front of that Lucy woman, that's who he really is. This nice guy, boyish little Peter Pan, who just wants to have fun and be a boy forever. What's wrong with that? Don't date a Peter Pan. Those Peter Pans are literally hobos, hobo-sexuals. That's what they are. They're gonna leave their stuff in your storage unit at your house. They're gonna keep all their crap at your house. They're not gonna pay rent. They are going to spend all their money on their very expensive... Do you know how expensive this stuff is? Do you know these sports are so expensive. Once you have the gear, they're less so. But anyway, when they get injured, you're going to take care of them. You're going to pay their bills. They're never going to be around. They're literally going... I wrote an article about this, y'all. I had no idea how much I was going to end up talking about this in my life. I wrote this for the Washington Post 6 years ago, maybe. If you're married to adventure, is there room for anyone else? Not if you're a man. Not if you're a man. Most of the dudes who are into climbing and in these extreme sports, and they're not like just someone who really likes climbing. They are like fully committed to this like cult-like little group that think, oh my God, anyway. Please read the book Uncultured. Having Daniela on my live on Sunday, and that book and her work in general has really helped me reframe everything about patriarchy being a cult, and so many like all of this is literally conditioning us to bow down to other people, they exploit our labor. It's about abuse. It is about just dehumanization and all these things in the climbing world. I really kind of fell into that we're better than everybody else mentality of the climbing world. Oh, look, you know, like we're stronger than everyone else. We're nonconformists. We're rebel. Nobody could do what we're doing. But within that world, people die a lot because men don't value human life, not even their own, and they exploit women all the time to be their caretakers when they get injured, to be their belay babies. They literally get girlfriends so that they have someone to belay them, because when they go climbing with men, they have to compete over who gets to, you know, lead this one or that one. When they go climbing with women, they just teach her to be a climber good enough to follow him, but not good enough to lead, so that they get to lead all the routes, because that's what real men do, is they lead and they red point things, which is basically a colonizer mindset anyway. I gotta be the first. No one's ever done it but me. I'm the first to do it ever. On site, never seen it, don't know anything about it. And then I get to name it. Look at me, the little explorer, discovering things. The whole mindset in climbing is so tied to like the colonizer, white supremacy, patriarchal, all of the things, right? Toxic masculinity. A lot of these men in the climbing world literally go out looking for a belay to serve them, to fork them, to belay them. So, you know, she's good enough to serve him, but not good enough to be confident in her own right so she can go climbing with other people and lead things. Maybe she does sometimes, but really her purpose in life is to belay him and keep him alive. And what a metaphor for the patriarchy I've ever seen. It's literally what we do, even when we're not climbers. We are here to keep men alive. We got to tell them to go to the doctor. We got to cook their food. We got to take care of them when they get injured. And believe me, if you date a climber, he will get injured. And when he's injured, he's going to be such a prick. It's going to be a nightmare. He's going to be like in his worst mood ever, because it's literally like dealing with a dry drunk. You know, he's happy when he can climb all the time. But if you take away the one form of escapism that he's fully committed to and his identity is committed to and all his bros are a part of, and now he can't do it anymore and he's alone stuck with you, the person taking care of him, he's going to hate you. So he's going to be an awful person to be around, because his moodiness, because he's an addict without the source of ease and comfort, helps him avoid the real problems in here. So he'll probably spiral into alcoholism or drug addiction or something else, or some other form of corn addiction, TV. He'll literally do anything but deal with the grief of maybe not being able to climb, or his whole identity being tied to one thing, or even his own mortality, or the fact that he feels so alone in the world because all of his buddies, he doesn't actually have a deep, meaningful relationship with them because they continue to climb and they're not even checking in on him. Believe me, I've been in that scenario. A woman hanging out with a bunch of bros and I got injured. Not one of them ever texted me to see if I was okay. Not one of them ever brought me anything. Women came out of the woodwork to show up for me, bring me tea, get my meds, check in on me regularly to make sure I'm okay. Even my roommate, when the meds made me sick, was cleaning up my barf. Not a single man did any of that for me. So these are fair weather friends to begin with. And men, when they get injured, they realize that. Realize that their community, not all. I do know men who are climbers who are very thoughtful, emotionally intelligent, who aren't unbelievably reckless and selfish and all those things. They exist. But it's like finding a good one in there is no good one, because they're all like, you know, there's no good white person either, right? We're all a part of it. We're all complicit somehow, right? But there's one working on himself and really challenging himself and his thinking and really being careful or thoughtful for other people and trying to learn and grow. And then there's the others who are like, no, everything's fine. It's all about me. I want escapism. I just want things like whatever. And they resist good kind of change. They're all about challenge, but of like the ego type, not the like spiritual or emotional or relationship kind. No, they don't want that. They don't get praise for that. A lot of these men now can't do the one thing that gives them the fix, and then rely on a woman entirely to take care of them, and they hate that woman for doing it. because they know deep down they don't even deserve it, but their entitlement tells them that they do. So they're in this big conflict of owing her so much, but hating the fact that they don't deserve her because they really aren't pouring into her the way she pours into him. And they really just miss their bros so bad. But at the same time realize these bros don't give a crap about them because they haven't even called to check in on them. So they spiral into addiction a lot of times. I literally have male friends, former male friends, who when they couldn't climb anymore, their mask came off. Boy, were they not great people to be around. It wasn't until that they got injured that I realized, holy crap, this person's never even asked me a single question about myself. This person is literally just disappeared into self-pity. Anyway, it reminded me of having gone through the same thing when I was in high school, and all my buddies, I was like the cool girl in a group of guys who drank and did and all kinds of, you know, illegal things. And then as soon as I got arrested and was on house arrest all summer and state probation for a year, lost my license for a year, had to get, you know, tests for a year, and literally couldn't party anymore, I lost all my friends. In fact, these dudes actually, at one time I did try to hang out with them, blew smoke in my face, therefore like possibly threatening my test results. I don't know, maybe that wouldn't threaten it, but at the time I was like, oh my God, y'all suck. Like, that's when I realized these men suck, because we couldn't do the thing together that binds us, which is challenge and adventure and pushing each other and almost dying and being different than everyone because we're just so brave. When really, yes, I was brave, but I was also a coward. Brave in my professional life, brave in my hobby life, total coward in my interpersonal life. Terrified of challenging people, terrified of men, terrified of saying no, terrified of like conflict, terrified of getting close to people, terrified of letting down. And I had good reasons for that. Childhood SA and other things will do that to you. But that's when I realized, when I stopped doing all these terrifying sports for a while and started doing other terrifying things that were a little bit more healing, like storytelling. Whew. It's scary to stand on a stage and talk about grape culture in a story than it ever was going down a class 4 whitewater or climbing anything. 1,000-foot wall hanging off of it by a few pieces of metal. Same feeling. I still got some of, I still avoided some stuff. I told those stories without really processing them still. But still, it was different than like literally putting my life in danger on a regular basis and feeling better than everybody else because of it. But you know what? It's kind of familiar. And that's why another reason not to date these climbers. A lot of them, if they haven't been really working on themselves, all they're doing is running away from trauma. Some of them literally run away through a marathon. Others run away through just constant adrenaline hits. They literally act just like alcoholics and drug addicts and any kind of addiction. It's an addiction. And the other thing is that a lot of them come from childhood trauma or like family systems that are very chaotic and very scary. And so they go out there and they literally face nature to be scared again because they have a little bit of control over their environment now. I had no idea that I was putting myself in danger all the time because that was familiar. But feeling like I had a sense of power and agency in that danger, that was new, and I loved it. So I actually understand why people do it. I now finally understand, besides just being curious and adventurous and all those things, not everything is about trauma. But one of the drivers of me going out and doing such reckless things on a regular basis was to gain a sense of control and to somehow change the narrative or, heal some sort of childhood trauma around things I couldn't control, things that were familiar, which is the environment being scary. But now I'm an adult and I'm choosing to be here instead of having to be here. And I have agency when I didn't when I was a child. Maybe that's not why I know that's not why everyone's doing it. Maybe that's not why some of these men are doing it. But the reason why I warn you against getting involved with some of these adrenaline junkies is because a lot of them are addicts. They don't realize it yet or don't know it yet and aren't willing to do anything to deal with. What are they running from? A lot of them have unresolved childhood trauma, and maybe they're also going to therapy and processing this and dealing with it. But chances are they're not, because they live in a van. They don't have any money. Any money they have, they're using towards climbing, not therapy. The same way men will literally go on OnlyFans and drop thousands of dollars, but are like pissed if you suggest that they spend any money on a therapist. Almost every single male, not all of them, but most of the male climbers I know who are literally the dirt bags, which is what all climbers, they own that. I'm a dirt bag. And on some level, I love that because that meant I wasn't consuming a lot of stuff. I was a minimalist. I sought joy instead of from experiences rather than buying things. There's a lot of things that I actually still kind of align with. I don't really want a lot of stuff, but I want to live a rich life, you know? So all my money went towards stuff, but I took it too far. I wouldn't even sleep in a bed. Part of it was about punishment. And we know a lot of these men are so attached to everything has to be hard. Like they want to be comfortable, and women are here to make them comfortable, and they will purposely create chaos to make something hard so they have something to fight. And then they can feel like the hero. And it's not just men who do this. What I'm saying is that I didn't like peace. I didn't like a peace of mind. I didn't like comfort. I can sleep, you know, I don't need a bed. I'm tough. I can sleep on the floor. Like I literally tied myself to toxic masculinity in such an extreme way. And I wrote about it for the Outdoor magazine. This article right here, the guide who became a toxically masculine feminist, wrote it for Outside magazine. This is back in like 2018, I think. I would write that article so much differently today, but it was one of my first. And I talk about how much I've fully committed to toxic masculinity. And Danielle and I are going to talk about that too, because she was in the Army. Our live is coming up on Sunday. Join my Patreon if you want to be there. But I'm going to ask her all kinds of questions. I am 30 pages away from the end of her book. It has been one of the most mind-blowing reads I've ever endured. Like not endured. Well, you endure a little bit. It's a lot of trauma. It is a lot of truth bombs that are like shake your world, but in all the best ways. It's a very healing book. And one of the things that her and I've talked about, because we've talked once before, was you know, you have to fully, you know, become this or that, you know, the Barbie or like, or one of these things, you whatever. And so I chose to be a man, toxically masculine all the way, cool girl, one of the boys, all that stuff. But the problem is when you act like a man, you end up, they will never accept you entirely at all, ever. The moment you have like a schmeg's life, you are kicked out of the boys club or slut shamed like I was, or just they don't see you the same, because you have to be as Daniela said in her book, as genderless as possible to survive as a woman in these groups. But since I fully committed to, I'm tougher than all of you. I'm more of you know, a badass than any of y'all. You all sleep, you know, in an apartment. I sleep in my truck in a parking lot outside at Kmart. Who's tougher now? Like literally, I could one up all of them. Just how when I was in high school, I could one up all the dudes. I could take more than any of them. I could smoke more than any of them. I could drink them under the table. Do not even try me. I will always win. Like I fully committed to that competitive, individualistic, like masochistic culture of toxic masculinity. And so as a climber, I could be a bigger dirtbag than all of them. I could sleep even in crazier places than them. I could endure even more than them. You think you're tough? Try being a woman and doing all this. Didn't say that much because then I'd be called a feminist. And if you call yourself a feminist, then they hate you. So do not be tricked into thinking that some of these like outdoorsy sports are not just as toxically masculine as like the army or frat, you know, the military and like frat houses. It just looks different. They are still frat boys, but they just have ponytails and speak softer sometimes, and they're like all about like equality and stuff, except for in their personal life. They're anti-capitalist, but they'll exploit your labor. They're so into spirituality and they think they're Jesus. Like these kind of nice guys hiding in climbers outfits and harnesses and, you know, Patagonia jackets with duct tape covering the holes. Those are my people. I was in that world for a very long time, and I love that world, and I care about the people in that world. And I also, having had some distance also from that world, have a lot of critiques of it. And one of them is so many unhealed men in that world who are just as bad as frat boys, but they're harder to spot and they're more deceptive because you think they care. You think they're progressive. You think that because they believe that you can climb something hard and they respect you as a climber, that they respect you as a woman, and they don't. Not unless they've done the hard work, and most of them won't. So that is about just dating adrenaline junkies, particularly outdoor adventure people in general. But now, here is the worst case scenario, which is what I believe that base jumper dude was all about. Having seen some of his own videos and then listening to what that woman's story, and again, I didn't even catch the whole thing, but the dude basically tricked her into going into onto a hike that was definitely not a hike. It involved climbing, it involved harnesses, and it called clipping in and unclipping, which is dangerous. You know, anytime you unclip for those 2 seconds, what if you lose your balance? What if you have a panic attack? I have absolutely been leading a climb after I've been climbing for 20 years. And then looked down and realized I was so exposed and I got so scared and I had a panic attack while I was lead climbing. And that had never happened in 20 years. So even though you think you can control your emotions and stuff, you can't. You can, if you can most of the time, but all it takes is one time. Or, you know, the rock breaks under your foot, which has also happened to me. And I almost took like a 50-foot fall in Red Rocks outside of Vegas because sandstone sucks. This man took her on a very dangerous hike. Knowingly, and wasn't even wearing hiking boots, tennis shoes. She also was wearing like short shorts and had a tank top on or whatever. That alone is so not okay. Look at what this girl is wearing. Short shorts, tennis shoes, one layer of a long sleeve something. Hopefully it is like polypro and not cotton. But she's clearly is not like a super outdoorsy person, so she may just be like, oh, I have a long sleeve shirt, not realizing that there's literally something called cotton kills. If you are cold and you are in cotton and it's wet, it is literally the worst thing you can be in. Whereas if you're in something, a different material that's wet, like polypro, wool, whatever, I'm not going to list them all, look it up. Those are actually going to not make you colder. So when I was rafting, was a raft guide in New Mexico, in the summertime, I would purposely bring long sleeve cotton shirts to keep me cold. Okay, like literally the only scenario that I'm going to bring a long sleeve cotton shirt is to make me colder because it was hot and it's also to protect my skin. It's so hot that, you know, that's the only way I could stay cold because, you know, like it's cold fabric against your skin. It cooled me down. But when I was guiding in Wyoming, do you think I ever wore that? No. No. It's way colder up there. The Tetons, rafting there is much different than rafting in a desert. My point is that no matter where I'm rafting though, even when I was rafting in New Mexico in really hot weather, it's still a desert and the weather can turn super fast and you can go from being so hot to so cold in an instant. So it doesn't, I mean, unless she's got, what is this on her back? It doesn't seem like she is prepared with rain gear. I don't care if if the weather wasn't predicting rain. No rain gear. I'm sorry, I bring too much, but I always bring a light, you know, a layer, very thin layer for Gore-Tex. I bring multiple layers because I get cold easily, and most women do. Because I don't know why, but it seems like all of our energy goes towards this crap down here. Not crap. Amazing thing that creates life. See, I still have that internalized misogyny. But I always was colder than any man that I was ever with, so I always had a lot more layers. What is this? What is this? This is not right. She needed way more than this. Not wearing a helmet. Literally, like, this is like almost the worst possible scenario of wearing clothes. And this man took her out here, lied to her about where they're going, and she trusted him because apparently they're childhood friends or something. So then when they get to this place, first of all, she's been hiking in this area that's very scary. She's scared. Purposely brought her up there to put himself in a leadership, look how he's looking right now, put himself in a leadership position, make her vulnerable, but also make her dependent on him. This is literally what, like, this man did in one day what abusers do over a long period of time. Right? They purposely create drama, purposely make you dependent on them and feel like both a sense of safety, despite the fact that they are actually the thing causing the thing that's not safe a lot of time. Like, he caused all this. He didn't have to put her in a situation that made her feel so unsafe. He purposely brought her out there knowing that nature and her feeling out of her elements and not knowing much about it and him knowing way more about it already made a power dynamic, right? And then he just lets the elements scare her, says some other stuff to scare her. Like when he... Okay, before I even get to this part, like gaslights her. I'm telling you, so many of these men, they love being the hero. Don't think that just like firemen and search and rescue and all those men, that they, like, I know we've been told that they are more thoughtful, and some of them are, okay? I dated a fireman briefly once. He was a wildlife fireman, and actually he was a really good person. And the reason why he was really good at being a fireman is because he was really thoughtful. But a lot of women think just because they're firemen and they're on the first in the scene and they don't have the same energy of cops, a cab, who are more about like authority and, you know, unaliving Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, especially Black people, but just basically being like asserting their power and being the law, right? Firemen come to save people. Sometimes the cops save people, in theory. I mean, we have no one else to call, but 40-something% of them are admitted abusers. And the more marginalized you are and the darker your skin is, the less protection you have from them, if any. They are the danger, but also represent the thing that's supposed to keep you out of danger anyway. These firemen, a lot of them are not firemen because they're thoughtful and they care and they want to like save lives. It's literally because they want the credit for saving lives. They want the ego boost from saving lives. They love being the hero. They're so attached to being a hero. But this is what abusers in that scenario will do. They'll purposely put you in danger on a regular basis so that you have to rely on them, and then you think they're so amazing. And you bond over being in danger together, but he is the person who saves you from the danger, even though he's literally the person who puts you in the danger. This man literally did in one day what most abusers takes weeks or months to do. So this guy is next level. I am telling you, do not go on dates like this. Do not trust. First of all, this man could have just thrown her off the cliff. Like, seriously, do not go in remote places with a first date ever. But don't let these men, even if they're your childhood friend, convince you to go do something like this. Or if they do, I'm not victim blaming here. I'm just giving information of what you, look it up. And as soon as you feel uncomfortable, turn around. Although at this point, there's really not much she could do. This dude was going to go jump off a cliff no matter what, which brings me to the next point. So they do all this so he can go base jumping. Like, what, bro? He takes her all the way up there, if I'm understanding this story right, just so he can get to this little platform right here, this thing here, and jump off of it. So then he puts on this stupid bat outfit thingy, and while he's putting it on, he starts to plant seeds of doubt. Oh, you know, I hope it, you know, lasts. He even shows her the clip that's going to, this little thing that's going to save his life. He's like, hopefully it works. And she's like, oh, wait, it may not work. No, it'll work. You silly, silly girl. I just planted the idea that it won't in your brain. Why are you worrying about this? I literally brought it up to make you worried about it, but why are you worrying about it? Of course it's going to work. Maybe it won't. Of course it's going to work. Literally, they're trying to confuse you. The way he talks down to her, and then he literally jumps off this cliff. Jumps off this cliff. Do y'all know how dangerous this is? You cannot pay me to date a man who does this. Dean Potter, I got to do a video on that dude. Dean Potter is one of the best climbers in the world, and he got into this. And then the thing is a lot of these dudes break rules all the time. Dean Potter was so attached to being able to just jump off of anything he wanted to that he had the law after him all the time. And I understand that a lot of times, like especially the rangers in Yosemite, there's friction between the climbers because a lot of times they're like, you know, power hungry or whatever. But a lot of times they're like, bro, don't be selfish. You can't jump here. And they're like, but I want to jump. So anyway, do not date these dudes. Please don't date these dudes. If you do, please look for red flags of like narcissistic hero complex. I just smash those two together. The narcissist or a hero complex, or just this Peter Pan syndrome, or this entitlement that the rules don't apply to them, because that's who this guy is. Because the woman that I'm going to tag, who just found him, he posted a video right after this Lucy woman of him jumping. So this right here is the platform that they're supposed to, there's my pointer. The platform that base jumpers are supposed to jump. Look at him. He's like, I'm not going to wait for that. I don't have to jump there, even though literally everyone's there. I'm going to jump from here because I want to have fun, and the rules don't apply to me. They're not fair. See, most men who actually, the only men who I respect are the ones who grow out of their baby and teenager stage, their little defiant toddler stage. This is literally why most men are king babies, is because they never evolve out of that stage. Not because they can't, but because they refuse to. So this little entitled king baby is like, I shouldn't have to wait. And a lot of this is, he's also a white man. I think he's from the US. He sounds like he is. I shouldn't have to wait on the platform with these losers. I'm going to jump from here. Rules don't apply to me. Please look out for that rules don't apply to me type bros. I'm not saying they're always narcissists, because it's like, you know, whatever. I also don't believe that all rules and all laws are right. You know what used to be legal? Slavery. Most of the laws from like 100 years ago or more, and some of the current laws, totally immoral. So I'm not like, live by the law. But I'm more looking for like, I don't want to do this, following the rules crap, because I'm special. I'm an individual. I'm the exception. I'm better than everybody. That's entitlement. And that's not even about the rule. That's about just selfishness and entitlement. And that I'm not down with. See, also posted a video of him going with a friend to the same place that he would later take her, and look how nice he looked. Totally different man. Look at that. What a nice, funny Peter Pan guy. I want to be this nice guy's friend. Nope. And that brings me back to my original point. A lot of these guys who are just so cool and so respected by other men and women and are just like fun and like whatever. You do not know these men until you date them. I am telling you, so many men are completely different behind closed doors. Why do you think so many women end up in abusive relationships? These men are not acting like that in front of anybody but you. They are not monsters. They're just dudes. Every single person watching this video is friends with or related to an abusive man or coworker. You have an abusive man in your circle, whether you know it or not. You just don't see that side of them. They reserve that for the people in their home, usually a woman, also their children. No one else sees that version of them. If you really want to know a man, talk to his wife. If you really want to know a person, talk to their kids. They see a version of that person no one else sees. Their wife or their girlfriend or their partner or somebody or their roommate. A lot of times roommates know more than we think, than even people dating. They're not living together. I am not saying that all climbers suck. I am not saying that all climber men or adrenaline junkie men are abusers or narcissists or terrible people. I really am not saying that, but I am saying if you decide to go on dates with men, do not ever go to a remote place or do something crazy or something that's like not even that crazy, but is just like remote and like all day kind of thing, adventure where you are like, just especially if you know they're into like extreme sport, do not go there on your first, second, or third date. Like just go, like spend time with this person when they're not in their environment. Because if you're in their world and they're the king of their world, you are so screwed right out of the gate. See how they behave in places that are not their comfort zone. And even though you're uncomfortable in their place of like danger, 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 that's the place that they're most comfortable. That's the place they thrive. Why do you think I was so good in the outdoors? I am calm and cool and somehow even confident in the middle of chaos. It's in the quiet moments at home. It's when there is no crisis that I spiral. Or that's what it used to be. Now that I've been dealing with my trauma for a really long time and working on all that stuff in my nervous system and all PTSD and CPTSD, it's different. But for a long time, that's why do you think I kept doing high pressure, dangerous jobs? Because that's when I was at my best. I also didn't go, I don't think, on any dates during those years. I think I just intuitively knew I'd be a mess. Having dinner with a man? No. What would I talk about? I want to connect. I only connect through fear of dying. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I have not been around as much because I was on vacation, so if you missed me, please follow my Patreon for multiple reasons. But one is so that you get notified when I put work out, because otherwise you are completely at the mercy of the algorithm. And if you really like my stuff, you may not ever see it and you think I'm not posting when I am. So there's a free tier for that, and then there's tiers for like personal stuff, travel stories, lives, really more intimate, quick Q&As and stuff like that. So go check it out. Thank you for being here. Let me know if you hear the comment song, because that's coming next. And like, comment, share, and all that stuff. It really helps me get paid because it sends my work out into the algorithm. Et voila. Welcome to the comment song. This is an edition of the comment song that's pretty scary because this was my second Tinder date. No, third Tinder date with this guy. Yes, I went all the way up here. Luckily, I knew what I was doing. Oh my God, why am I singing this? I'm just going to tell y'all. I'm actually going to sing the comment song after, because you may actually want you to watch this. Look at this. I say don't do as I say, not as I do. I know I sound like a hypocrite, but luckily I've been climbing for over 20 years by the time I did this. And we actually never hooked up, but like oh my God, I gotta tell y'all this whole story. Ugh. Anyway, men will literally this man had just met me, and he just assumed that I knew how to handle all this. I can't tell you how many times men have taken me in situations like this and just assumed that I knew what I was doing because I said all the right things. But like, oh my God. Okay, I'm going to show you photos instead. This was that trip. This was our third Tinder date. I had literally moved to France a week before all of this. Like, I still can't get over, oh my God. Like, we camped out together. We never hooked up. I'm very proud of myself about that. I just wanted a climbing partner, honestly, and Tinder was the only place I could find that when I first got here. But anyway, this could have been the worst situation of my life. Luckily, I had decades of climbing experience behind me and just, managing, I don't know, just traveling and really learning how to trust my intuition. So I felt pretty safe with this guy. And he was safe, but I'm so glad I did not date this dude. He actually wanted to hook up with me, but like, whatever. That's another story. Remind me to tell you that. Anyway, now let's get to the comment song. I just wanted to show you, like, literally, I'm telling y'all, I talk about this because I think I have like 900 lives. I can't believe I'm still alive. I literally get told that all the time. But I had a whole lot of experience and knowledge going into all these situations, and I just don't want other women to end up in these situations dead because they trust men. Because men are really terrible at judgment. Anyway, welcome to the comment song. The comment song. The comment song. Now's the time to make your comment for the comment song. Oh my God, this is not a song. I'm sorry, I give up. I just wanted to show y'all some stuff. To give you extra time to comment. Tell your stories. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the comment song. I'm getting so much joy out of doing whatever random crap I want to at the end of these videos. And I think most of y'all seem to really enjoy it. So countdown to this video ending. 3, 2, 1, et voila.